Hello there, YouTube. I am Wheelchair21, and today is a Doyle's DVDs, and it's brought to us actually by SoundOut12, and it's none other than
The Return of Godzilla, or otherwise known as Godzilla 1984, which is the start of the Heisei series, and is released through Kraken. This is the first time the uncut version of the film has ever been released to North America. The only known release of it has been in its Godzilla 1985 format, starring Raymond Burr, and honestly, the 85 release is still a decent film. The original rare dub of the film that was released through Europe, it is practically the same footage seen in 85, just spliced in with Raymond Burr's scenes. However, with the 84 production, it is through Omni Productions, the people who subbed Master Force, Headmasters, and Victory. I did them loosely out of order, but the ones who did the Japanese trilogy of G1 for the Toei release. So, since this is a Kraken DVD slash Blu-ray release, most of their releases seem kind of cheap and shoddy, but they're straight and to the point for about a $10.99 retail MSRP. So I can't really knock them due to the fact that, one, we do at least get a dub, we also get a professional sub from their production team, and it usually has quite a bit of the original box art, either on the original VHS release or the first ever DVD release of it, so I can't really knock them. And inside, the DVD feels very, very bland, but I like that it has, like, the texture of, like, Godzilla's skin from that specific suit. So overall, for $10.99, you get one hell of a deal. Now, I previously reviewed The Return of Godzilla as 1985 in its VHS release, its home video release, back in, like, the late 80s, early 90s, if I do recall myself correctly, since I didn't decide to check my old Doyle's DVDs playlist, which I probably should have. So, pretty much the plot is the same, with less Raymond Burr and less villainous Russians trying to blow up the freaking world. And the plot pretty much is the same. Like I said, Godzilla attacks a fishing vessel. One sole survivor is found by a well-known reporter. There's a media blackout. The only reason Japan decides to say that Godzilla is back is because he attacks a Russian sub and almost causes World War III because the Russians believe it to be the Americans. After, ambassadors and the Prime Minister hash it out, they come to an agreement. There will be no nuking of Godzilla, and they'll find a way to defeat it themselves. However, when they discover how to defeat Godzilla, which is using, a bird sensory device, because this is early on before it was clarified that reptiles and birds are kind of kin to each other, and dinosaurs, that Dr. Hayashida, a paleontologist, biologist, and all this other crap, who became a scientist due to the original attack of Godzilla, figures it all out with him and his student, who is the sole survivor of the ship, as well as the reporter Maki. And they try to make a weapon to lure Godzilla away from Japan and lock him into a volcano, which we see worked all the way up until 1989, in which Godzilla vs. Biollante occurs, and he gets released due to terrorists pretty much putting bombs in there and then making the bombs go off, causing Godzilla an exit route through the volcanic channels, through the actual mouth and crater. So, everything works out perfectly, happy ending for at least 5 good years. And, like I said, the only difference really is the omission of scenes with Raymond Burr and the villainous Russian scenario. But nevertheless, both versions of the film are really solid and really good. They're practically, on par with each other. They're one solid movie as a whole. And so to get this on Blu-ray and home video, I really assure that fans should check this out while they can, and get it while they still can. Now, there has been illegal rips of its European release and its Hong Kong release out there for the past couple of years since Japan released its Blu-ray, but this one's a lot more crisper and cleaner and a more professional cut of the film for us people in North America in the Region 1 DVD release. So we're good. We finally have a good, solid copy. So just throw $10. It should help Kraken. I mean, another good thing is they already have releases to 3 previous films: Ebra, Monster Horror of the Deep, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, and Godzilla vs. Gigan. And they have already claimed that they have several others in their list. So that's the one good thing. They also include original trailers to the film, as well as trailers to their other Godzilla releases on this set. Now, could they have gotten maybe more special features? Possibly, but that could have made the DVD set not just be $20, but $30, $40, and even higher, due to how
Japan's economy works for those special features like press conferences and behind the scenes. Fun fact is, Yosuke Natsuki, who is Dr. Hayashida, wasn't originally intended for that role. It was actually Akihiko Harata, who played Dr. Serizawa in the original Godzilla movies, and several others. Now, Yosuke Natsuki and him were actually pretty good friends, and that's why he dropped the role over to him, and as well as Natsuki played in not just Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but the H-Man, and a few other movies and television shows they worked together. And that's one of the reasons why he got the role of Dr. Hayashida, and that's one of the reasons why it just popped in my head right now. But I had wrote it down in my notes as something to talk about. But like I said, having evolved my thought process since my previous review, like I said, I really do love the acting. I love the camera angles, the tones, the script, and film. And one thing that I've always personally enjoyed about this Godzilla film, about Godzilla vs. Biollante and Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, is its attempt to try to directly connect to the original 54 film, as well as introduce us to the Super X's. And that's one thing I've always enjoyed, is the battles between the Super X's and Godzilla. Specifically this one, because they actually beat Godzilla with cadmium shells, causing him to go comatose, and only to be revived due to the nuclear EMP blast in the stratosphere, which then causes an electrical storm and awakens him. So, I mean, yeah, we have good solid effects, we have a good solid story, and there's only two things that, no matter what, whether you watch it in its English release or its original uncut release, which we now have for about $9.99 or $10.99, is a few comedic ploys that they have, like a couple of people being caught on fire by Godzilla's nuclear flame and actually screaming around in pain, like jokingly. Certain things where Godzilla picks up a train and you see people making weird looking expressions, looking at him looking like he's about to eat them or just drop them. And the third is the Vagabond, who a lot of people have explained that he was a well-known comedic actor at the time, and that was one of the things they were doing. Was one of his current quirks was making fun of Indiana Jones, so they even play off a gag with Indiana Jones where he's running away from Godzilla and Godzilla almost steps on him. So, like I say, this is one of those films where if you love good tokusatsu movies, you love good tokusatsu things in general, this is a great one to watch. This is probably in my top 5 Godzilla movies of all time. It's probably my number 1 Godzilla film next to GMK and the original, so they already take my top 3. And I'm wondering where Shin Godzilla is going to take place in October. But like I said, pick it up. $10. Practically a good, cheap release. Gives you dub, gives you sub. Don't recommend the dub, just go with the sub. The dub is terrible, it's an Omni production, and only if you've watched Transformers like I have would you get the reference. So, yes, stick with the sub, or try to find an 85 VHS. Anyways, I'm Wheelchair21. This Doyle's DVDs was brought to you by SoundOut12, so I recommend you should go check out his channel first and subscribe to it before you subscribe to mine. You can also like my videos, check me out here, check me out on Twitter, check me out on Instagram, check me out at Hirotaku and Hero Club. Anyways, I'll see you next time with most likely a rolling reviews, because I rarely do Doyle's DVDs yet again, because stuff.